What's going on, everyone? My name is Burke, bringing you the pre-draft power rankings for the Pokemon International Championship Association, or PICA. But I am not alone this week. I am with my co-host. Please introduce yourself, sir.
Hi, everyone. Xavier.
So,
I'm here, and I'm going to be doing these power rankings.
Alright, so this is the pre-draft power rankings. We are going to go through who we think are the best, or who we think are going to do the best in this format, and who are probably not going to do as good, just based on previous performances in other leagues in general standard format. So this video is probably going to be a little shorter. There's not too much to talk about yet, not at least until the draft starts. It'll probably be
Yeah, we just in general don't have to.
I guess we'll just hop right into it. So my number 12.
Number 12.
Yeah, my number 12 is Mikey and the Chelsea Shandies. And the only reason he's here is because I've literally no idea how good or bad he is. I couldn't put him any higher because I don't know if he's good. I don't know if he's bad. He's just there.
It's exactly the same for me. He's also my number 12. There's just, we can't put him higher because, it would be unfair to other people who we actually know. So it's we're sure he'll go up there. We're sure he'll prove himself. It's just, sorry, this is what we have to do for now because we don't know anything about him.
Yeah, a lot of these rankings are definitely going to choose as soon as the draft is finished and we do the post-draft power rankings. We'll have a lot more to go on, and these numbers are probably just going to completely change after the draft happens.
It's going to be scrambled up.
So we'll move on to
number 11.
Yep, number 11. I have Ty and the Atlanta Braviaries as my number 11.
I do as well.
Yeah, the reason I had him at number 11 was because he's currently in the ISL, the International Showdown League, and he's not doing too hot. He's currently 1-4 at the point at which we're recording this, so he's not doing too well. He didn't draft well, and that's really hurting him this season. But I do feel like he'll be able to, if he drafts well this season, his ranking's definitely going to go up.
Yeah, I can definitely see the experience carrying over. I really value that experience. I think that gives you a huge bump in the right direction. Just having experience. I have faith he'll do better, and he'll pop up there to a higher seat in the rankings.
Yeah,
so
with
bad about it for now.
Yeah, with a better draft and more experience in the format, he's definitely probably going to move up.
Yeah, because he hasn't been doing that bad, and his preparation has been pretty good. It's just I think the main problem has been he didn't really draft too well.
Yeah.
He had a significant psychic weakness, and it's just, now I'm sure with a better Pokemon on the side, he'll do better.
Yeah, especially if you have a poor draft, it forces you to make riskier plays to try to get ahead, and it just hasn't been paying off for him. So,
but anyway,
so we'll move on to number 10. So my number 10,
yes, I believe this is where it starts.
Yes, we are not going to be agreeing totally at this point. My number 10 is Nick and the Iowa Focus Energy. The reason I have him at 10 is
And I have Josh there.
Yeah. The reason I have Nick at number 10 is he's kind of in the same boat as Ty. He didn't do very well in the MBL. He had a decent draft, but he wasn't really able to. He doesn't have. I think he went 4-7, and he had a fairly negative differential. And I think, again, if he gets a good draft this season, and he shores up a lot of, from what I could see, not fantastic preparation. It was good, but his opponents always were able to, or most of his opponents were able to plan better. And if he just shores those up, I think he's definitely going to move up.
Yeah, I put Nick above Josh, like you, because I value that experience. I really think he can do better. and move up. And with that experience, like he knows more what he's doing now. He probably realized his mistakes and he can clean those up. And I feel like that's going to help him do better. But and then Josh, he's just, I put him at 10. We watched some battles he had, and he just seems really good. He's been playing a lot of tiers, and I'm sure he'll do fine adapting to the league format, but I couldn't rightfully put him above Nick.
Yeah, for Josh, I have him at number 9. I have him above Nick. It's really, to me, they're pretty much equal. I watched a lot of his battles, and he seems like a very good battler. It looks like he knows what he's doing. The only problem for me is, from what I saw, he does a lot of OU and UU, not a lot with the lower tiers, and I think that can definitely hurt him in this kind of format, because you need to be able to...
Yes, it could.
Yeah, you need that mixed tier experience. What does lower tier stuff do?
Some of my best players on my teams and my league experience have been slightly lower tiered uncommon things, because it's just harder to predict exactly what they're going to do, and just people underestimate them in general.
Yeah, but you have Kairum, and that was doing really well this season in the ISL.
Yeah, Kairum's been doing very well. I love him. And Miss Magus, completely countered local brand. People underestimate them.
Yeah, so
anyway, off topic, but now let's go to number 8. I believe we have another disagreement here.
Yeah, my number 8 was Gargleflop, who was previously the coach of the Las Vegas Latioses, who is now coach of the Berkhamsted Bastiodons. I want to put him higher because his team name has Burke in it, but
biases. We don't have none of that here.
That's why I said I wanted to, but I didn't. And the reason I put him at number 8 is that he did decently in the NBL. He did better than Nick. I think he went 5-6, but his differential was a little bit worse. So he lost. When he lost bigger than he won. And I think, again, he does have experience, and if he drafts well, I think he can move up just like the others. But I don't feel like he deserves a higher spot at this point.
This is a very similar disagreement that we had in the last two, 10 and 9. Basically, one is really good at the game and has proven themselves in more standard style. He's done mixed tier battles, Robotnik. But Richard, I don't know, I just value that experience, so I put him at number 7 instead of 8, and then I bumped Robotnik down there, 8. I don't know, they're still, I consider them very equal, kind of, but, so it's not really that big of a difference separating them.
Yeah, I've Robotnik at 7, mostly because I think he has not competed in this kind of format, but he does have a lot of mixed tier experience, which I think is extremely valuable, and I think he'll be easily able to adapt to this kind of format. So I put him at 7 just because he already has that experience.
Another thing with experience, though, is team building in this format is a lot harder than standard play, because in standard play you're still kind of counter things in the tier. Like I've seen Natural Gift Talonflame with a buried Make It Ground, so it can actually hit a Heatran. That's not unheard of in standard play, but there's a lot. You can see a lot crazier stuff in this format.
That is very true. But I see his mixed tier. I see him bringing that mixed tier experience to this format, and I think he'll be able to, as long as he, again, don't have a draft yet, so as long as he gets a good draft, I think he can bring that mixed tier experience to it and be able to plan very well for his matches.
I'm sure he can. I have perfect faith in him. And yeah, I expect great things. But I couldn't rightfully, in my eyes, put him ahead of Richard there.
All right.
Didn't seem right to me.
So next on my list is XZ, or the DMR Shadow Absols. They did well in the NBL, going 6-5. However, they did have they were not a starting coach. They picked up the previous team of the Half Moon Honchkrows with an already 1-1 record, and he was able to go 6-5. So he ended up with a 5-4 record of his battles. So he did well. He came in with a pretty good team, and he was able to just use it effectively. He did make a lot of switches for other mons throughout the season, but he at least had a decent starting team, and he was able to use it effectively throughout the season.
Yeah, this is another instance like the past two where we have both of them there. They're in the two slots next to each other. They're basically tied in my eyes. Like, there isn't too much of a difference for them here. Like, I know you've told me the Parahax has been he had to work from a harder situation, being 0-2. The person who had his seat before him had a kind of bad draft that he had to polish up, and he got a bit screwed over in that sense. But I don't know. Maybe I should have put him at 5, but hindsight's 2020, and I honestly just consider them tied almost. Personally, because their record was very similar. What else can I say?
Yeah, well,
but,
yeah, I had Parahax at number 5 just because he did start with a worse team. So his first loss when he took over coaching was against at that time, one of the best teams in the NBL, the Vespiquen Park Rangers, and he had a pretty bad team, and he was able to really patch it up and make something much more usable. And just like X said, he had a 5-4 record when he was coaching. He came in with 0-2, able to end the season 5-6. So that's why I put him above number 6, just because I felt like he was able to adapt better and pick up the same record. It was the ability to adapt the team and make it better throughout the season that impressed me more than X said.
Yeah, I can definitely see your point there, but I don't know. I kind of consider them tied. I'm sure they'll separate themselves when the draft comes around, but now I can't see a real, that's impressive that he did that, and I do commend him for that, but I don't know. I just don't feel like they're kind of tied, basically. They're basically both tied.
Yeah, it seems to be in groupings of 2. They're just like, which one's above the other? And it's very hard.
But luckily, this next one, pretty sure we agree on this finally.
Yes, we do agree on at least number 4. And number 4 is Hayden, coach of the Texas Rhyhorns. And the reason Hayden's here is due to his record and his playing in the International Showdown League. At the time of recording this, he is 4-1 with a humongous differential. I think at this point it's plus 17.
Plus 17. And the person, he's actually currently in second place in his division, and the first place is 5-0. And he has freaking 9 higher differential or something like that.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous.
And his one loss was against that number 1 team. It was only a 1-0, so he really has proven himself to be very good in this format.
Yeah, he drafted well, he plays really well, and he plans very well. So if he brings that same ability to this league, I think he's going to do very well.
Yeah, if he can just carry that over. He does have kind of a easygoing personality, and he does like to joke around a lot. So, but that's in like more casual games. I've seen him do that. I don't think he'll be doing that in this type of format where it's more competitive almost.
Yeah.
But I could see that possibly hurting him if he doesn't keep that under control.
Yeah,
He's done some pretty silly stuff in the past, like in one battle, he set up to +6 with Sableye Nasty Plots and went for a scratch on an Aggron. And then the Aggron jokingly set up the rain and caught a Water Pulse at +6 in the rain.
That was 1v1 Challenge
funny,
Cup, though.
but he should have done that earlier. It wasn't Challenge Cup, but it was hilarious.
It was Challenge Cup, and but no, if he brings
but yeah, he potentially risked losing that just for lols, I guess.
Yeah, I haven't really seen him though do it during league battles. He's just been doing so well.
He's not going to do it in league battles, although he did only pick up Hitmonchan in free agency for fun, I guess. But
yeah,
sure.
and dropping Ambipom.
Keep that under control.
Yeah, I mean it could come to hurt him if he wants to, do trades and free agencies like that. But so far it's been working for him, so I can't really fault him for it.
I mean, you can question his methods, but you can't question his results.
That you can't.
But yeah.
All right, so
but then
now we're at another
back to the little
disagreements.
Before, but with a bit more difference.
Yeah. So my number 3, and I guess we'll talk about him first, is Red Matt. I believe it's Red Matt and the Washington Red Shells. I have him at number 3. You have him at number 2. The reason I have him at number 3 is his record was not great in the NBL. He only went 5-6, which at 5-6 he was able to make the playoffs, and he was able to win. He was the NBL champion, but he didn't do well in the regular season, and I think because his division wasn't very. He had a lot of room for error in his division, just because at 5-6, if you can make the playoffs, it's not as competitive as other divisions. Even then, he was able to make it, and he did play extremely well once he made it into the playoffs. But the person above him the person above him on my list just had such a better record and kind of lost a little bit of RNG. So that's why I put him at number 3.
The main reason I decided to put him at number 2 was because he won the entire thing. He deserves like some kind of credit for that, and I feel like number 2, like, I don't know, I didn't feel like I could put him at number 3, even though he won the entire thing last time. That's gotta mean something, and number 3 isn't bad, but I don't know, I couldn't rightfully put him ahead of the person at number 1, but it's just, I had to give him credit for winning, especially with the comeback he had.
I mean, I did put him up at number 3. The other person that was 5-6 in at least our list was, for me, it was not counting Parahax because he was technically 5-4 when he took over. Is the Burkhan Bastiodons at number 8 on my list. So it is quite a bit of a jump for 2 5-6 teams to be so different from the NBL. And even though he did play very well, I think the person above him just played better during the regular season.
I understand that, and I get that, but I don't know. I think he won the entire thing. I just wanted to give him some good recognition for that.
Yep.
He must have been doing something right if he won.
Definitely. And now number 2.
Then your number 2, my number 3, Fiddlesticks. He did. Phenomenal. I'm surprised you had him at number 2 and I had him at number 3. If anything, I thought I'd have him higher than you. Mainly due to the fact that one reason I think he is one of the best players in this league was because he was a sheer genius for drafting Bikini.
And you were talking to me about bias. I put him.
You have him higher than me.
That's true.
Don't you tell me about this.
I put him at number 2 just because he had the better regular season record. That's basically it. He had the better regular season record. He was also able to beat the. If you haven't figured it out now, like the person we both put at number 1, he beat the number 1 team in the NBL in the semifinals to get into the finals. So I think that in itself is a big accomplishment, and that's why I have him at number 2.
Funny thing to mention though is he made it to the finals, but in his semifinal match, it was kind of like RNG hacks that kind of decided it, even though it wasn't like huge hacks like he got a burn with a flamethrower or something, but it was a Suicune going for sleep talks, and if it got scald, it would have killed his Victini and his Crawdon. It wouldn't have been able to take out the Suicune. Like, it couldn't beat it 1v1. It would have whittled it down or gotten a scald burn eventually. But then when he actually got into the finals, it actually came down to his Snorlax not getting the right moves with sleep talk, so it's kind of some cruel irony that he lost.
Yeah, but I just felt like he had that better record. To me, just shows that he'd been playing better throughout the regular season, and the fact that he has one loss, he basically went 10-4, whereas Matt went overall, I want to say he went 8-6. So to me, that is just a better record, is what it really came down to.
It is a better record. But I wanted to give him credit for being the overall winner.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how I felt about it. I'm
All
sure Fiddlesticks is going to do good.
Mm-hmm.
He's apparently a genius when it comes to drafting, so I'm sure he'll be number 1 for the
If you haven't guessed by now, Xavier really likes Victini.
I mean, least favorite Pokemon, honestly. If you haven't guessed by now, least favorite, totally.
All right.
Don't care.
So moving on to number 1. We agreed on this one. It had to have been Socrates.
He deserved it.
He went 10-1 in the regular season.
Also, you never heard me say it because luckily Burke told me about this, but I had been pronouncing your name Socrates for the longest time. Sorry about that. But yeah, anyway, he did really good. And as I said earlier, the main reason he lost was because of the little RNG with sleep talk.
Yeah, it happens. And that's why he's still at number 1. I mean, that 10-1 regular season, I don't remember who he lost to, but being able to be that dominant in the season just goes to show how well he's able to draft, because he drafted a really good team, and how well he's able to prepare and play.
He did very good. You have to just respect how well he did.
Mm-hmm.
And even though he lost in playoffs and semifinals, not the finals, a battle, no matter what the matchup is, can always go either way. And when it's in the playoffs, it's like, if you lose, it's not just you have a better record, you're out. So he just couldn't win that one. It was sad, but he still did amazing, and I think he deserves number 1 spot.
Yeah, that was an easy agreement on our part. But these rankings, these are all our opinion. If you have a different opinion, leave it in the comment section below. Tell us why we're wrong. Tell us why we're stupid.
I'd like to hear all those. Bring it on.
Tell us why we're wrong. Tell us why we're stupid.
Remember, they're all very subject to change.
Yeah, and these rankings are definitely going to change once we hit the draft. I mean, I can see all these numbers being moved around pretty radically, especially number 12. He's down there at number 12 just because we had nothing to judge him on.
We just had nothing to go on. If he has an amazing draft, I could see him up at like number 3, 4, 2.
Yeah.
If he drafts well.
Yeah, this is all just going to depend on the draft. We have a pretty big mix of people who don't have experience with this format and those that do have experience with this format. So it's going to be very interesting, especially going into the draft. That's all I got for today. My name is Burke, analyst for the Pokemon International Championship Association, joined by my co-host, Xavier. We'll see y'all later.
Bye.